All right. Welcome back to the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to kind of reflect on what we talked about, we had our AEW Dynamite review. We had our Thursday Night Wrestling preview. We talked about how WWE superstars are dying to get into TNA, and we also just recently kind of talked about my Eric's World Cup of the best tag teams in professional wrestling. I give you guys bracket one. Going to give you bracket two tomorrow. I swear. Currently, rapidly running out of time. Want to save some time for my man Emran. You have the GSMC Soccer Podcast happening at 9:30 tonight, so make sure you tune into that as well. But let's go ahead and tune into our last segment. We have our Thursday Superstar Spotlight. We will talk about the eighth wonder of the world, Andre the Giant. Sorry if you guys are watching. If you guys are listening to this, ready to go to bed, and I just woke you up. I apologize. I know my voice can be annoying. I'm just kidding. I'm moving on. So Andre the Giant, his name was, and I know I'm gonna butcher this, Andre Rene Roussimoff from France. I wish I knew another language besides English. I'm just so boring. I'm just kidding. He was born May 19th of 1946. He was known as the eighth wonder of the world. He was booked by Vincent Kennedy McMahon as mostly a roving attraction. So I don't want to sound mean, or I don't want to sound like like a dictator, but I think he was mostly said as like kind of like not like a freak show, but I was like, look at this guy. This guy is 7 foot tall. Wayne, and then like I feel like obviously Vincent Kennedy McMahon was a huge promoter. He had to do whatever he had to do to kind of survive in the professional wrestling industry circuit. You saw him featured on multiple WrestleManias, which does not surprise me. So you can't really blame him for because back in the day, in terms of media, in terms of TV, in terms of anything, it was a lot less sensitive back then. But let's not get into that. This isn't that kind of podcast. This is a wrestling podcast. Why do you guys do this to me? Why do you guys want to get me in trouble? So um, he was great size. He was a great size. He had giganticism, which is an excess of hormones. Usually taken by the human body and stuff like that, and it was also told that he actually kept growing as soon even if he died, so his cells were still growing, although he passed away, which is kind of crazy. Kind of kind of what do I want to call it? I don't want to call it a disease because it's not, because people are born, because some people are born with it. I won't, with giganticism. What would you classify giganticism of? Disorder? No, that just sounds mean. Uh, he had this thing. He had this thing about him where he grew super hella tall. Um, Kind of ultimately played into the reason why he passed away. But yeah, let's kind of let's move on from that. He was known for his multiple feuds with WWE legends like Hulk Hogan. He headlined WrestleMania 3 in 1987. He defeated Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship. He was an inaugural inductee of the WWE Hall of Fame. Also, he was a movie star. He was a movie star. He was Frizik, the giant from the 1987 film The Princess Bride. I remember watching that film. It was super awesome. It was pretty cool to see Andre kind of in that. He dropped out of school and he became a hay baler for his father on his farm in March of 2000 and of March of 2000. March 24th, 1973, he debuted in the in the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, which became the WWF. He was heavily a fan favorite. He was heavily a fan favorite as soon as Andre the Giant came in. A lot of people respected this huge eighth wonder of the world that they're probably never going to see in their lifetime again. Something that Andre the Giant is highly respectable of is that he was a big man that was able to put on a good match. You don't see those nowadays. You kind of saw, Big Show. I like Big Show, love Paul White, but he couldn't have put on a good show. Not at all. I love Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's cool with the Wyatt family, and when he was a WWE champion, like, it was cool, but he didn't know how to put on a good match at all. I love Keith Lee of the WWE NXT, and I think he's probably the closest to Andre the Giant as any of the superstars I mentioned, prior. But he couldn't put on as a good show as Andre the Giant could. Andre the Giant could play a great fan favorite, could be a great heel. Ultimately, he was a huge reason why WWE established so much success. You kind of needed that immovable object, that irresistible force. Well, obviously now that kind of belongs to Nia Jax, but Andre the Giant was great. Andre the Giant was definitely one of the, he came before his time. He, obviously, he's a late great. Like I said, he's a huge fan favorite. In his first debut, he defeated Frank Valois and Bull Palmetti in a handicap match. And 2 days later, he fought at Madison Square Garden and defeated Buddy Wolf. He passed away at the age of 46 in Paris, in Paris, France, January 28th, 1993. He was basically in Paris to attend his father's funeral. He stayed a couple of days for his mother's birthday and ultimately tried to console his, obviously absolutely devastated mom. And when he was in Paris, passed away in a hotel room. Crazy. Imagine the mom. You lost your husband, you lost your son. It probably wasn't. It was probably terrible. I'm not gonna say probably terrible because it's absolutely terrible. But Andre the Giant, just know that Andre the Giant is a huge icon, one of the best wrestlers that's ever touched God's green earth. Definitely shaped a lot of big men, inspired a lot of people. A lot of people probably the size of Andre the Giant, maybe 6 foot, 6'5" or higher, probably thought they did not have any future within the WWE or the professional wrestling circuit. And Andre the Giant was kind of there to kind of show people, that it's possible. It's possible. Don't quit on your dreams just because the size you are. Obviously, you're born the way you are. Why fight it? Why not embrace it? And Andre the Giant was a huge reason why WWE is so great, and definitely reason why I have become a wrestling fan, 1,010%. So yeah, hope you guys loved my show. If you didn't, then I got 3 words for you. I'm just kidding, no, no, just give it a chance. Give it a chance. But yeah. So, thank you for tuning into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. Just to remind you guys to leave a positive review here at the GSMC Sports Network. We love peace, love, and positivity all the way. So don't be afraid to kind of do that. And also, don't forget to Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show, to the network, and leave a positive review. It really does make a difference, guys. Here at the GSMC Sports Network, we invite you guys to follow us on Facebook, Twitter/X, TikTok, and Instagram for more content and updates. And like I always say after the show, if I haven't made you a wrestling fan by now, we have the Chip Shot Football Podcast, Kevin's Football Podcast. The NFL is right around the corner. If you want to find about all the hottest news, all the headlines, all the breaking news of the NFL, make sure you tune into that, tune into their podcast. The best thing about it is it's absolutely free. You don't got to pay a subscription to YouTube. You don't got to pay a subscription to DirecTV. You don't got to subscribe to ESPN Plus. Just check us out on YouTube, GSMC Sports Network, and you have all your sports right there. We have Hoops and Heels with Samantha, your one-stop shop for women's wrestling. We have Jeremy Lapidus, and we also have, TJ talking about sports and all that. We have the Andrew Tate show. It's just sports and sports and sports. We talk about everything. And just did the GSMC podcasting network had things that if you don't, if you stumbled upon this podcast and you're like, dude, I thought this was a podcast about, building card houses or something. I don't know. Like we have podcasts. The GSMC podcasting network has podcasts about absolutely anything that intrigues your interest. And like I said before, thank you for tuning into our show. It is a beautiful Thursday. Hope you guys enjoy your Friday. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. I have my boy Nelson from the GSMC Basketball Podcast and my boy Christopher from the Fantasy Sports Podcast, and we're gonna tear it all. We're gonna tear it on up. So hey, don't be shy. Make sure you set your reminder and tune into the GSMC Wrestling Laureate Podcast tomorrow at 8 o'clock Pacific time and then 11 o'clock Eastern time. So gotta bid you adieu. Have a good night. Tune into Emran's Soccer Podcast happening right after this. So hey, have a beautiful night once again. Love you all and stay beautiful.